The IAE event is currently out, but the servers are down for me. So while I wait, I'm going to do the Alpha 3.11 post-mortem. When a new patch comes out, the old one gets a post-mortem report, which is full of amazing details. But before we get there, I want to give away the Mercury Star Runner from the competition we ran last month, because the Mercury is out right now and I know you want it because you entered the contest. So we're going to go to the YouTube random comment picker. This is the URL from the video and I am going to run this through in a second. If you do win, be aware you have 60 days to respond or your prize will be forfeited and rolled over to another giveaway. So the winner of the Mercury Star Runner is... Did I not push that right? Is. There we go. Filter out duplicate users, get YouTube comments. I think there were upwards of 1,000. So guys, thank you all very much for your wonderful participation in this contest. We picked up a lot of new subs for the channel. I do appreciate it. Wow, a lot more comments than I thought. Okay, 1,305 unique comments. And the winner is... of a brand new Mercury, none other than Twitch. Is that the name? What a blast of a giveaway. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a beautiful Mercury Star in one bit. Congratulations. Let me just confirm this. Congratulations, Twitch. I guess you got it. Well done to you. I'll be reaching out to you. Be sure to get to us within 60 days. Congratulations once again. It's a wonderful ship. Isn't it cool? So good for you. Glad to see it was going to someone who really, really wanted it, as opposed to you guys who did not really want it. But this guy just wanted it more than others. Totally not rigged, by the way. All right. Alrighty, let's jump into Alpha 3.11 post-mortem. There is a wealth of information in here. There are a lot of small but very important changes that came in 3.11, and we've spoken about them at length in the past. But let's get the summary here from the vehicle team. We know where that 100 series come out, missiles and countermeasures. Drastically changed and improved for the better part with this last patch. For example, firing missiles was extremely easy. Defending against missiles was extremely hard. You can dodge missiles pretty easily now. If you know where they're coming from, they're on your radar, you can swing around. You can actually point your nose at them and strafe around them like this. You keep on going around until they run out of fuel. So missile play, where once a missile being launched was a guaranteed hit, it is now a lot more difficult. And if you're fighting against a good fighter, someone who knows how to dodge them, extremely difficult, which forces you to go into ballistics or lasers to shoot them down, because missiles are just really, I don't want to say they're easy, but they are very dodgeable at this point in time. They're going to say flares that only act on certain missile types. Chaff will be turned to noise field, dampening all signatures around the field. That is true. So lots of great changes to missile play. Final thoughts. The overall goal we want to achieve in the missile gameplay loop is to make both employing missiles and defending against missiles deeper and more rewarding with its own slot in combat environment, which is what they've accomplished. Missiles are not supposed to be an alternative to guns, but tactical weapons. Well, how about the strike? What's going to happen with that? Because that's kind of a missile boat. I do think that missiles have a place in gameplay for people who just can't shoot straight or don't want to rely on guns. There is a place for them. So I do want to see missiles have some role, not to be a complete alternative, but a viable alternative in some cases if there's a ship like the Shrike, which specializes in that. They go on to say, we also want to give special missile boats... Oh, I should have already read this before I made this video. We also want to give special missile boats like the Talon Strike or Freelancer Miss an edge when it comes to employing ordnance for the same reason. These ships will excel in offensive missile gameplay, though have obvious drawbacks in other categories. So there will be more iterations on countermeasures and missile gameplay in the next couple of releases. Good. For the time being, though, we're quite happy with the missile experience, stepped away from the frustrations of previous releases. I agree. John Crew, Vehicle Director. Thank you very much, John Crew. I think you've done a wonderful job in this patch. Moving on to technology. Now, the technology team was working on the canvas decal system, and decals, as you can imagine, are things which can apply onto clothing or even signage on vehicles. So, does this open up the opportunity now to have .org logos on your ships, this is what will do it. They ran into a couple of certain issues. They want to ensure maintaining fixed memory budget. This streaming logic ensures we can automatically run the same feature set on low-spec machines by carefully load balancing textual resolutions on the fly. You'd think slapping a logo on something would be easy, but apparently there's a lot more to it behind the scenes, but that was being worked on there. For Planet Tech, on the Planet side tech, we added several features including improvements to Planet tools. This includes new painting brushes, revamped UI, and merged ground layer and object presets to make it even faster to paint planets. As I've said many times before in the past, just because it took them a month or 2 months to make a single moon in the past doesn't mean it's going to take a month to make moons in the future. In the future, because of all these tools they have now, they can make them much faster. I'm not saying days, but perhaps a week to create what would have taken months in previous years. So all those tools continue to be worked on and coming along very well. On the engine side, several improvements were made. We updated our compiler toolchain to VS 2019. I don't know what that means, but it does sound fancy, which will allow for faster compile and link times. Throughout Alpha 3.11 production, the core engine team was mostly focused on features for later releases like the Gen 12 renderer, which is pretty big. Everyone's excited for that. However, a very large bug was fixed, which caused all our objects on clients to unload way earlier than intended. Objects on clients should now stay streamed for no speed longest distances. I think we noticed that with the draw distance, I don't know if this counts, but the render distance for players, it used to be somewhere around 200-300 meters, and now if you have a good sniper rifle, you can hit someone out. 1.5 was 2 kilometers out. Some crazy render distances for players are available now. I'm not sure if that is what the core engine team was working on, but that is definitely something we saw demonstrated, much to the pleasure of many people who enjoy the sniper gameplay. Audio. For audio tech, we updated WY's version 2019 2.4. Oh, thank goodness, because the 2.3 version was really bad, which fixed several issues. Canvas slicing. This quarter, the UI tech team has been working on a system called Canvas Slicer. I am intrigued. What does this mean? This is a subsystem of the building blocks which allow UI designers to place slices in 2D UI in 3D space. Okay, normally when you draw 2D UI, it gets rendered to a texture. That texture gets applied to geometry, such as a monitor panel or data pad. With the Canvas Slicer, we create the geometry at any position in 3D space at runtime, draw the 2D UI directly onto it. This means we'll be able to produce interesting layered UI, such as holographic ship HUDs and helmet displays. Ah, nice. I'm hoping this translates into something for VR in the future. We did see an example of this in the recent HUD display for what ship was it? I forget. But the HUD did look kind of at a 3D element to it. That's what they were talking about now. The HUD is no longer a flat 2D display. Tooltips. They've also started designing tooltip system for building blocks. On the surface, looks like a simple system to implement, but the requirements ensure it is super flexible. We haven't met yet, blah, blah. Nothing to say. Thank you, Marco Crobetta, VP of Technology. Core gameplay. Now we get to the good stuff. External inventory. External inventory is the first iteration of our grid-based inventory interface, which is sorely lacking at the moment, but coming along. Every single MMO out there, well, almost every single one of them, has the grid where you drag something from one side to the other side. You want to stick something on your back, you drag it from that grid to put on your back. That is something which has been worked on. We've seen some demos of it, and it is coming along. Can't wait to see more about that. Force reactions at its core. Force reactions is developed to simulate what a character would do when impacted by a force, and this ties into the ongoing questions or discussions about how many people you can have on your ship. If you have an Aurora, technically you should have one person in the ship, but can you fit 2, 3, 4 friends in it? Maybe one guy lying down, 2 guys in the back. What are the repercussions of having more than the intended number of people in your ship? Well, besides the use of oxygen and resources in the ship itself, there's the G-forces. Now, if you can't be strapped in, if you don't have a chair to sit on, and the pilot pulls some big G's, or you hit a rock, like someone might do when he flies a lot, those people will take a hit. They will fall, they might get damaged, they might even die, depending on the kind of G's you are pulling. So, force reactions are a very big part of the game going forward, which will really limit the amount of people you can put on your ship if they don't have seats to sit on. Throwing, T1, throwing grenades on objects has always been a bit of an inconsistent. It's always been, when we go on and up, we always told people no grenades. And the reason why I'm going to miss this is always, if you're getting on my ship, no grenades, because they always, whoever carried grenades, always dropped them at their feet and blew up everyone. So I'm going to kind of miss that. It's been here for years already, and with the new throwing grenades system out, that is no longer. So I'll kind of miss that old thing, but the new system is definitely a lot better. We saw the Baron grenade launcher and the BR2 shotgun come in. Final thoughts from Richard Tyra, who is the core gameplay director. He says, if I look back across all features of the core gameplay pillar delivered for 3.11, I am happy with the results. However, this doesn't mean everything went well, or if I had the time again, I would do everything the same. The main thing I'd like to change is how we implement force reactions in the ships. All right, I don't see why though. I think it's okay. Rather than treat it all the same as all the forces in the game, like winds and bullets, which on the face it makes sense, I would have designed it specifically around the gravity generator inside the ships. Interesting. So good thoughts there from Richard Trier. Let's move on to environments, the cargo decks, which are now in the game itself and will be a place where you go and get missions from, obviously concerning cargo. For release, we were able to introduce the next step in adding complexity to our space stations. The idea for major stations located around the planets, they would have more than just rest stops. They have their own facilities dedicated to services like cargo. For the exterior, we introduced new add-on components that describe the infrastructure. Inside, we want to expand the routes. For this, we want to introduce the idea of a station having main transit next. Okay, this is interesting. Inside, we wanted to expand the traversal routes. For this, we introduced the idea of a station having a main transit network that connects the various elements of stations together, commercial decks and cargo decks, etc. Okay, so there'll be a train, or I guess some kind of platform which carries you around from the cargo. Well, mostly it's going to be the elevators, right? The Wonkavators. But I can see that. Maybe you're carrying a small package, or maybe you have to visit the logistics center there in the cargo area to get specific jobs. So walking there is going to take a while. Makes sense that there'll be a traversal route to it. Planet content. For this quarter, we were able to keep momentum updating in the planets and moons in the Stanton system with the latest tools and tech we used to build the Pyro system. So we know the Pyro system is probably complete at this point, I'm guessing. And the changes we are seeing to Stanton are from the tools they've improved upon to develop Pyro. So Pyro is going to be awesome because the tools they've used to build Pyro are now improving Stanton. And you've seen how the moons and all those bases and everything have improved in Stanton right now. So yeah, very excited to see what Pyro holds in store for us. Final thoughts from Ian Leyland, who is the Star Citizen art director. We're able to introduce a lot of new tech in this release, and we start to show a second round of polished updates on the planet's surfaces. Also, with the introduction of scan data from our services, we saw a substantially jump in quality. I can concur, it does look great. Let's move on to design. Armistice zones. The Armistice zone relaxations are the first step in removing all arbitrary restrictions from the game. Interesting. So you'll be able to pull a gun in Port Olisar or any Armistice zone, repercussions being you probably get a fine, or if you do shoot someone, you probably have the security NPCs come and arrest you or chase you down. I've got mixed feelings about this. I'm kind of concerned that Armistice zones will just become a full-up war zone for people that don't care about crime stat or have a good group of people around them to defend them from NPCs. I mean, will it be a full-on NPC war all the time in Armistice zones with players? I believe CIG has a plan in place. We'll see how they'll handle it. I'm curious to see how it's going to pan out. And I don't know, I'm thinking kind of GTA 5 maybe. If you shoot someone, then you get a 1-star and then maybe one NPC comes after you. I don't know. We'll see what they think about that. I'm curious to see how it works out. But we've seen those new size 10 turrets come in and then shoot things and make them explode pretty fast. In concert with defenses, we've added the first iteration of security response system. While still simplistic, adds up the crime stat of players in the area. And we've seen mentioned how that an Idris will actually roll up if the crime stat in the area is high enough. Final thoughts from Luke Presley, who's a lead designer here. Moving forward, we also plan to relax the arbitrary limitations found in interiors. That's what I was just talking about. Again, starting at the rest stops, where we are already well underway with the spawn closet system that allows us to spawn the guards necessary to police the areas. Okay, so like I said, you pull a gun, you shoot someone in a safe zone, an Armistice zone, they'll just start spawning NPCs, but you can also just run for it. I'm curious to know. I don't know. You know, I'll withhold judgment until we see it. I'm sure they have a plan in place. Let's go on. Oh, that was it. All right. So let's wrap that up there. And big congratulations once again to Twitch, not the actual company, but Twitch, this guy over here who won the Mercury Star Runner. I'll reach out to you. Well done there. And I'm going to jump into the IAE event right now. Have a great time in there, guys. And if you enjoy this content, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.